Welcome to Real Reviews. This week we reviewed 999.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying to yourself.
What is 999?
What is 999?
I haven't heard of this.
Nobody ever heard of this movie. We went and saw it. It's got an awesome cast.
Yes.
Fantastic cast.
Yes.
And it's about a group of corrupt police officers who steal things for the Russian mob.
Yeah.
A couple corrupt police officers.
Right. So yeah, the main, like the two main, well, not the two main guys, but there are two gentlemen that are ex-Marines, and they happen to do a job for this Russian mobster family. And once they got out of the Marines, they're kind of stuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
So they enlist two police officers.
Yep.
And that's kind of their crew, and they pull off these jobs for this Russian family.
One job doesn't go awry. That's what you think would happen,
right.
but the Russians kind of make them do this job that they don't want to do. That's nearly impossible.
Yeah.
And to get the time they need, because they're speaking cop talk, they say, well, we could do a 999,
right?
Which means officer down,
yeah.
like officer gets killed on duty. That's when all they
just all swarm, and then they can do the heist elsewhere.
Heist, so they got to find this cop. So Anthony Mackie is a bad cop, and
right.
Casey Affleck comes in as the good cop.
This is the right cast. The cast was phenomenal, and even though it's kind of a mediocre story, like there's not a whole lot of, oh my God, will they, won't they, or I don't know who's behind it. You always
know.
Was
my problem.
You always know what's happening. You always know what's happening, but it's the cast that just makes this movie, I think, a little bit better than what it actually was. The one weak link in this movie that I had a problem with was, and it flip-flops. I'm a fan of his, but he just has to have the right role, and that's Woody Harrelson.
Me too.
Woody Harrelson dropped the ball on this.
There's so many pointless, not so many, there's a few pointless things in this movie that just really bothered me. Like Woody Harrelson's character, I'm like, why was he even in this movie? That character did nothing for the story.
He was the uncle to
whatsoever.
Casey Affleck.
Yeah,
but
he's another cop. He's investigating the
He's a
bank
corrupt
robbery.
cop. Like, and you know, he's doing all these, it just shows kind of like how messed up he is. There's a scene with him and Casey Affleck with all these empty bottles
that like
in his
meant
house.
Nothing to the story, though.
He's doing drugs. Yeah, and that's just it. It contributes nothing to the story at all.
Tell me this story wouldn't have been better if Woody Harrelson wasn't in it and Casey Affleck and Anthony Mackie were working on the bank robbery case that Anthony Mackie did. That would have made this movie so much better.
Right.
Because Anthony Mackie's character could just play it off like they can't figure it out, then Casey Affleck comes in.
It would have definitely added another layer to that story. Like, oh, is Casey Affleck going to figure out Anthony Mackie's
exactly.
bad?
That would have put suspense into the movie.
Woody Harrelson there, and even just the way he talks.
I know.
There's some times, like in some roles, like I said, he's perfect, and then there's other times where I'm like, why is he talking like this? He doesn't need this accent.
And probably the most annoying thing in this movie, why, for the love of all that is holy, is Casey Affleck chewing gum every second of this movie? Not just chewing gum.
Yeah.
Like it's a freaking piece of cut in a cow. It annoyed me to no end.
And that was the other thing we discussed. There was nothing about his character development that he needed gum for. So we don't know why it was in there.
So that was so pointless and stupid. You darn near wrecked a decent movie by doing stupid things like that.
Yeah.
Like, use your brain.
Yeah. I agree, but to be nitpicking on Woody Harrelson, who is a phenomenal actor, and Casey Affleck for his gum chewing, I enjoy Casey Affleck. I think he's fantastic. But like you said, there was a few things in there.
And Kate Winslet's hair.
That I wasn't a fan of, and does it contribute to overall to, like, you know, my feeling of the movie? Yeah, maybe a little bit.
It does for me.
But it was still a good movie.
It was a decent movie. I'm not gonna say I hate it. It is an all-right action flick. I'm not gonna tell you to go and spend your hard-earned money to go see it in theaters. It was all right. I'm gonna give it a 5.
No,
5 out of 10.
I would recommend it. Like, there's a lot of people, like you said, that it's like, what is this movie? You know, I think it's a good flick to check out in theaters. I was gonna give it a 7.
A 7? Okay.
It's good.
He can handle gum chewing a lot better than I can.
I guess so.
Clearly. It was like nails on chalkboard visually. So we got a 5, we got a 7, 999. It's up to you now if you want to go see it. And don't forget to like our Real Reviews page, like this review, even leave a comment. You're entered to win $10 to Perkins Restaurant and Bakery.